Telecom has grown leaps and bounds over the years. From the simple PSTN to the flourishing cellular market, many technologies are adding up to this endeavor and have been the key drivers in the stupendous growth of telecommunication markets across the world. Moving on with the session, we would like to invite Mr. William So, Managing Director, Powerhouse Global Limited UK, and Non-Executive Director at Unitel LLC, to share his views on telecom evolution. Sir, we request you to please come up on the stage.
Mr. William So is the former president of China Unicom Operations Limited, one of the largest telecom operators in China. Having obtained an honors degree in computing science from Imperial College in 1981, he joined IBM and embarked on his professional career. Sir held various management positions with IBM China and IBM Hong Kong until 1993. Before moving on to become the managing director and equity partner of a subsidiary of Legion Computers, now Lenovo, based in Austria. Sir established a Sino-US joint venture, a European wholly owned foreign enterprise, and foreign joint venture in China within a 4-year period. Sir commenced his career with China Netcom Group, a Chinese state-owned enterprise, in 2000 as head of international operations. He has now established his own company, engaging in telecom, natural resources, and infrastructure business in China and emerging markets. We welcome you, sir, to Communique 11. Sir, we request you to kindly preside over the session.
Thank you and good afternoon. Oh, it's a good audience. Okay. So even at the end of the day, you're still awake. It always gave me a great pleasure. Okay, thank you. It always gave me great pleasure to speak to an audience who are energetic and young, because it makes myself feel young as well. Today, what I'm going to talk about is the title is called Telecom Evolution. It's going to be a light topic. Okay? I promise you there's not going to be any technical content and no test afterward. Okay? So you can sit back and relax, but just promise me not to go asleep. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I want to look at the history first. Okay? Let's step back 20, 30 years, okay, and look at how this telecom industry has evolved in the past 30 years. And then I'm going to give you a operator's perspective, a very honest operator's perspective, to tell you what we have been doing wrong, what we have been doing right in the past 20, 30 years. And hopefully that will give us some learning experience, and also try to predict what's going to happen in the next 5, 10 years. So let's look at the early 80s or before 1980s. That was the good old days. Okay? Well, we used to have only one, in many countries, we used to have only one operator per country. And usually it's owned by government, run by government. So there wasn't any competition. Okay? And in the past, the only business we do is voice communication. Okay? We provide telephony services to our end users. And being the only one operator in the country, we don't have any competition. And without competition, okay, the end user has no say, they have no right. Okay, we can do whatever they want, and there's no complaint. And I still remember, let's say 30 years ago, okay, I'm not sure about this country, but in China, people have to line up at our shops trying to get a line, or telephone line. And they usually have to pay a bribe, okay, pay you some money, okay, in order to get a line. So in those days, working for a telecom operator, okay, supposed to be a very good job because you make additional money from these bribes. Okay? And obviously, okay, the business was very profitable, and also in many countries, this was the major income for the government. Okay? In the international business, the international tariff at that time was actually determined by the International Telecom Union using what they call a SDR rate. So it's very high, very expensive. The settlement rate is very expensive. So that's why we also have to charge very high tariff for international calls. Okay. And then when we move on to the 90s, okay, this is the era of deregulation, okay, starting off in America. Okay, and typically, okay, it was actually started by AT&T. Okay, the company was split up around 1984. Okay, and then other country follows. Okay. After AT&T was split up, then the competition comes in. Okay, and there are other company which has no telecom operation experience before. They come into this market and begin to offer telecommunication services, typically voice services, especially international voice services. And there has been some good examples, some very successful stories, like MCI, for example, or Sprint. Okay, they start off during the period, and they become very successful, very big. Yeah. And also during that period, new technology comes along, especially fiber optic. So we have a cheaper way of providing huge bandwidth to our end customers. And that makes a lot of changes. But during that period, most of the business is still voice-oriented. Okay, local, domestic voice, and international voice. Okay, so the business model didn't change that much. Okay, but the tariff has went down significantly. And then, when it comes to the 1990s, not too long ago, then we started to have data, okay, carry on this on our telecommunication network, okay, which is driven by, at the beginning, driven by emails, okay, and later on by the internet. And with this data coming along, new opportunity also appears. Okay? For example, internet content. Okay? This business only comes in during the 90s. Okay? And also e-commerce, okay? Company doing business on internet. Okay? And then we start to face, the telecom industry start to face competition from outsider. People coming into the industry, they have no experience at all in telecom. For example, come to AOL. Okay? It wasn't a telecom company, but they come into this industry and provide telecom services. They provide connection into the internet network. Okay. And because of this competition, okay, we are facing significant drop in revenue and obviously profit. Okay. And also, the new technology comes in, especially VoIP, which basically provide almost free service for voice. Okay. So this is the beginning of a very difficult period for telecom operator, okay? Mainly because competition, price drop, and new technology. And the situation gets worse, okay, in after year 2000. Okay? For several reasons. One is the government protection, okay, has either reduced or totally expired. For example, in USA, AT&T become a company without any protection. In many countries, that's happened as well. Okay? So this operator who used to be protected by the government, now they're in the common market, competing with other people on equal ground. And then we have even stronger competition coming into the market. For example, like cable TV. They started to offer interconnection. They started to provide services on the internet. And we also have other new type of company with totally different business model, like Google, for example. Okay? I mean, it's hard to define whether Google is a telecom company or a service company. Okay, but they're in this business and they're taking away our market shares. And as a result, our revenue and profit, the revenue is still stagnant, okay, stable, because of the increase of traffic. There's been significant increase of traffic on the network, but because of the price drop. Okay, so at the end, our revenue becomes sort of stable, okay, and even drop a little bit during the years. Okay. And to add to this problem, okay, because of the dot-com bubble burst, okay, in the year 2000, okay, we have invested a lot of money into building infrastructure, but at the end, nobody uses it. Okay. So the operator, okay, during this period face a very difficult challenge. And the common sense is that we need to think about doing other business, not just telecommunication, but diversify or moving to other stream of business. Right? So this is the beginning of transformation. Okay. Almost every telecommunications company think about doing other business during that period. But then as the time comes and goes, okay, have we done anything differently? Okay, are we there yet? Okay, and what have we been doing in the past 10 years? Okay, let me give you some examples. Now, at the beginning, we tried to be ISP. Okay, every telecom operator wants to be ISPs, internet service provider. And the thing we do is we try to provide internet connection to our end users. We charge them. We provide them an internet address. We charge them, and we also provide them the internet content, an email address, email account as well, and we charge them for email account. And it works for a while, but then after a year, 2 years, company like Google, they provide all this service free of charge. They were able to do so because they have a totally different business model. They make their money from advertisement. They're not making their money from networks, but we are making money from our network. So our business model was challenged, and at the end, we lost. So at this moment, all these telecom operators already exit from this market. They are not, not many of them providing ISP service anymore. And we also try to become an internet content provider. We're doing several things. First of all, we try to provide our own content. So every operator have their own portal. We try to put content in our portal. But at the end, most of the operators, if you look at the portal, there's nothing there except company introduction. And also, we try to set up a platform and allow content developer to come into our platform and put content in our network. It works fine for a while, but then later on we have this so-called carrier-neutral operator, carrier-neutral data center provider. For example, like Equinix. They come in, they said that they're carrier-neutral. They can connect to any operator, and then they took away our customers. Because if you put your content on the operator's network using the operator's data center, very often you are not able to connect to other operators' network. And that was a handicap. And also our data center was designed for telecommunication equipment, not data servers. So it didn't work. The business model didn't work. And obviously, because we are not entertainment company, we don't really have any content. So we also lost. At this moment, I'm not aware of any operator who are providing a very successful ICP business model. This is all taken away by a company like Google, for example. And then we talk about outsourcing. For a while, outsourcing was supposed to be the light at the end of the tunnel. We are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, outsourcing. So every operator rushed to provide outsourcing services. A very good example is British Telecom. Around year 2000, the early 21st century, they seem to be very successful. They closed many orders for outsourcing businesses. But after a few years, they realized that the order they've closed a few years ago were actually losing money. So back to scale one. Right now, they're not really focused in outsourcing. They're coming back to the original business. Now, the reason that we were not successful in doing outsourcing is, first of all, the customer usually they outsource an operation. For example, a telecommunications operation or a banking system. The whole operation they want to outsource, not just the telecommunication part. And for doing that, the telecom operator, they are not very good. Imagine the telecom operator help the customer to manage a banking system. It won't work because we're not bankers ourselves. And even for network outsourcing, now in theory, we can help our customer to manage their network because we're expert in network management. But in practice, because we are not able to manage other operators' network, it doesn't work. Imagine British Telecom trying to manage AT&T network for a customer. AT&T is not going to be very happy. Their employees is not going to be very helpful. And usually, for outsourcing bid or outsourcing project, the customer issues a bid which consists of a lot of things, which typically include IT. And telecom operators are not very good in IT. We are very good at telecommunication, but not IT. So today, outsourcing is still a big business, but this market is not captured by telecommunication operator. Companies which are doing well in this market are, for example, IBM, HP. These are not telecommunications company, or Infosys, the Indian company. They are very good at outsourcing, but they are not, strictly speaking, they are not a telecom operator. So we lost everything. So how about realizing that the market is difficult, we just move to another market. Typically, we go to a market which is not saturated, okay, which has high growth. Okay. Good examples are, for example, Telefonica. Okay. Now, this usually applies to operator doing business in a smaller country, not operator doing business in, for example, China, big country, or AT&T in America. Okay. Because smaller operator, okay, it's very soon for them to realize that they have a limit in their own market. So they need to get out and find market with high growth. So Telefonica was very strong in South America because they speak the same language, Spanish. Most countries speak Spanish. So they went to South America and acquired a different company, and they become successful. Okay? They're pretty big. Okay? And then Africa, for example, Telecom, from Belgium. Belgium is a small country, and they realized in this small country there's not too much they can do. So they moved to America. They moved to Africa, and then obviously Singapore. Okay? Small country again. Okay, and they have nowhere to go, so they come to India. Right? However, okay, the business model, even though they go to a different market, the business model still remains the same. Okay? Whatever they're doing in, let's say, Spain, they do the same thing in South America. Whatever they do in Belgium, they do the same thing in Africa. Not too much change in business model. Only the scale is different. Okay? And of course, if you want to go to a new market, you want to participate in business which has higher growth. Okay? So most of this investment are in the mobile market because mobile generate more growth, not fixed network. Okay? However, even this growing market, if I talk about, for example, China, okay, it's growing market, but the market is already coming to a point where we are seeing saturation. Okay? In China, for example, this fixed network market always saturated. Okay. We are seeing the decrease in terms of number of subscribers. In Africa, it's still growing, but the growth rate is already reduced. So eventually, even in these new markets, the market potential is limited. Okay. So there's this operator, even though they went to a different market, but they still have to face the same challenges in the near future. And a lot of companies goes to consultancy. Okay? Even, for example, BT or Telstra in Australia, they're doing this kind of business. Okay? Again, the theory is because we own the customer. Okay? We have customer base. Okay? So we can tell the customer what they need to do. Okay? However, consultancy is a business. It's a very old business. Okay? Okay? It has been around for many years. We are very late into this market. Okay? They are already established company in the market. Okay? And also our staff, telecommunications staff, most of them are engineer background. They know telecommunication, but they are not business consultants. Okay. So far, there has been a lot of attempts. Okay, many companies try to go to the consultancy business, but so far we have not heard of any real success story. And the media, this is the hot thing, okay, hot topic. Almost every telecommunication company now, today, okay, they are already in this business, either providing IPTV or mobile TV. Okay? Almost all operators either thinking about it or already actually doing it. Now, again, based on the same theory, because we own the customer, they have the handsets, they have devices, okay? They have our connections, so we just give them the entertainment, give them the TV content. Now, there have been a lot of so-called success stories. For example, PCCW in Hong Kong, considered to be very successful. They have a Now TV station. But if you look at the financials, okay, the company is still sort of in an investment stage. They broke even, but they're not profitable yet. And most of the companies, most of the operators in this business today are still in the investment stage. So we don't really have any real success story in this market. The challenges we have as an operator in this market is, okay, we do have strong competition. Okay. We are actually competing with established cable TV operator, okay, wireless TV operator, satellite TV, for example, okay, and they own the content. We don't own the content. Okay. Also, if you look at our people, okay, probably most of you here, okay, we are very professional people. We dress differently. We all wear suits. Okay? We have short hair. We don't have long hair. But if you go to a TV station, people don't wear suits. Okay? They wear shorts. They wear slippers going to work. They have long hairs. Okay? Okay. So our companies, okay, we are managed by professional or engineers. Okay? But for TV company, entertainment company, they are run by artists. So totally different people. Okay? They don't mix together. And then what about cloud computing? Again, this is something you hear every day. Okay? People expecting cloud computing is coming. We do have a lot of opportunities. Okay? Telecom operator are very excited because the cloud computers are coming. But obviously, many of them are betting on this cloud computing opportunity. But if you think deep, okay, for cloud computing, as a telecom operator, we do not own any technology. All right? The technology doesn't belong to the telecom operator. We do not sell hardware. We do not manufacture hardware. We do not manufacture software. Okay? We just pass on the product to the end user. Okay? No added value. Okay? So I believe that cloud computing will come, but the opportunity for telecommunication operator are limited. Okay? We probably be getting more business for data center, as well as bandwidth. But as I mentioned earlier, okay, for data center business, we already not very competitive. Okay? Company like Equinix, they're more competitive than telecom operator. So those guys will benefit, not the telecom operator. So at the end of the day, probably we'll be getting more bandwidth. There'll be more demand on bandwidth, and that's it. Okay? This is what we get from cloud computing. So I talk about all this problem. Okay? So what's going to happen? Okay? And why are we not successful? Okay? Now we have tried so many things. Okay? Why are we not successful? Okay? Now you look at this big company like AT&T, China Mobile. These are huge company. But if you look at the service they're providing today, it's not that much different than the service they provided 10 years ago. Basically, what they're doing now is providing connectivity to the end user so they can talk on their phone or send messages across the internet. That's it. Okay? And I believe that in the future, most of these telecommunications companies will remain as a connectivity company. They are not going to change. Okay? Now, it's difficult for us to change, okay? Especially in today's environment. Okay? A reason which a lot of people don't realize, but okay, the reason is very true, is because telecommunication industry, okay, is not very bad. Okay? We know the revenue is stagnant, it's not growing that much, but it's not bad, it's not disaster. Okay? Now, if you are running a listed company, okay, you have a lot of shareholders buying your stock. If the company is not bad, you don't change. Okay? Because if you change, okay, you need capital to change it. You're not able to raise capital. And also, if you change a company, there's a risk that okay, it will get worse. Okay? And the investor will not be happy to do it. Okay? So the executive of telecommunication companies is facing the major challenge, which is they know they need to do something, but it's difficult to convince a shareholder to do drastic changes. Okay? Imagine the company is doing okay, generating revenue every year, and you tell the shareholder, I'm going to cut down my workforce for 20%. They will not agree. Right? And one reason, which, to be quite honest with you, if you look at the resume of most of our senior executives, okay, most of them are coming from telecommunication background. Okay? We have never worked in other industry. Okay? You look at this company, none of the executives coming from FMCG background or entertainment industry. Okay? They maybe just say 55 years old, and for the past 30 years, okay, they have been basically in the same industry. So these people already have a mindset. Okay? They know the industry too well, okay? And it's difficult for them to change their mindset, to come up with a new idea. And one important thing is, okay, we in the telecom industry, okay, or most executives in the telecom industry have failed to admit that we are no longer in the service industry. The thing we are selling is not exactly services. We are actually selling commodity, like selling soya beans or metal. Okay? Now, in the commodity market, you don't sell your commodity directly to consumer. For example, if you're a metal manufacturer, you sell your metal in the commodity market to factory or manufacturer who use your metal to make cars, for example. Okay? But what we are doing today is trying to sell the metal to the end user rather than selling them a car, and it doesn't work. Okay? If we are in the commodity industry, our company structure should be very different. Okay? The way you sell your product to the end user should be very different. You don't have a large sales force calling customer individually. Okay? You probably want to put your product in the internet since it's fixed price anyway, okay? And then the customer just order the product through the internet. Okay? And the reason I said we are in the commodity industry is, if you look at the product we are offering today, no matter who offers the service, it's the same, basically the same function. Pricing, maybe a little bit different, but not more than 10%. Okay? So it's a commodity market already. Okay? And also, again, okay, if we want to change something, let's say I want to move to entertainment industry. I want to buy an entertainment company. It's difficult to raise capital today. Okay? The money is not there. So what's going to happen in the next 3, 5, 10 years? I believe that there will be two types of operator. Okay? One is basically doing the same thing as they're doing today. Okay? They provide connectivity. They provide connectivity between people to people, people to machine, and machine to machine. Okay? Connections. Okay? The example of product they're going to sell are bandwidth. Okay? Broadband, for example. And then we have other type of company which move away from selling the commodity. Okay? They use this commodity, they use their own network to build other product. Okay? They sell information. Okay? So they provide information. Information can be in the form of, for example, entertainment, okay? Media, okay? Movies. These are a form of information. Okay? It can be business information, the customer database, okay? Internet-based business applications. Okay? Now, these two type of company, they will coexist. Okay? I'm not saying that if you choose to be connectivity provider, you will die. That's not true. Okay? It will still be around, but you need a different business model, different structure of the company. Now, connectivity is still going to be good business because people need the media, the physical media to transmit traffic. So these companies will still be around. However, in order to be a successful connectivity company, because we're selling commodity, in order to be successful, you need the volume. Okay? You cannot be successful if you have a low volume of traffic. Okay? And personally, I think it's good news for Indians because India itself, this is a huge market with huge domestic traffic, either data or voice. Okay? Very huge domestic volume. And also because of the geographical location, India is sitting between Asia and Africa. And both Asia and Africa is generating huge growth. Okay? And you are sitting in the middle, so you're able to connect Asia and Africa together. Okay? And that gives you more international traffic as well. So I think this is a sort of like successful factor or successful ingredient for Indian companies to be successful. And we are seeing, for example, Tata or even Reliance. I believe they realize this potential. So that's why they're also investing in cable, connecting Africa to India and also connecting Asia to India. And I think eventually they'll probably, I think most likely Indian company will be more successful than Chinese company in terms of international business. And I believe that younger company, and also company with a younger population and a smaller workforce will have a higher chance of success in the future. Older company, because the market moves so quickly, older company, because it's difficult to change the people's mindset, they have less chance of being successful. And I also strongly believe that it makes a lot of sense for media company and telecom company to work together, either under a merged company or through some kind of acquisition become a single company. In India, again, I'm talking about, let's say, Tata or Reliance. If you look at the group structure, they do have media, let's say TV, Okay? They have a advertising company. They have telecommunication company. Okay? So that will create a lot of synergy within their own group. Okay? And they are able to provide a total solution to the end customer, and they're at the same time able to capture all the revenue in the whole process. Okay? So I think company which either they're under the same group, have a media arm and a telecom arm, or a single company, which through a joint venture or merger, have these two business, will be very successful. Okay? And at the end, my comment is, I'm looking at India, and I think India actually holding the future of our telecom evolution. Okay? And I am a strong believer that international-wise, in the future, we're going to see very successful international telecom company coming from India. Not only providing connectivity, but company providing total solution for the whole value chain from India. Thank you. I think maybe I have time to take one or two questions.
Good evening, sir. This is Vijay from marketing second year. My question is as you have seen, FTTH requires a huge investment.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you repeat?
FTTH requires huge investment. That's fiber to the home.
Yeah.
So how do you foresee FTTH from broadband market perspective in the development of smart homes?
Now, whether it's FTTP or whether it's ADSL, whatever, but this is something eventually every customer needs. Okay? The mobile network, no matter you talk about 4G, 5G, 6G, whatever, it's not going to be enough for customers' demand, for bandwidth. So eventually you need fiber to home or you need fiber to this area. Okay? So the demand is going to be there. Okay? The question is whether I want to put in the fiber today, or I want to leave until it becomes very cheap and do it in the future. And I think this is a challenge for the operator. Okay? We know everybody's going to need fiber in the future, but timing is very important.
Thank you, sir, for the insights.
Good evening, sir. Dinesh here. As you talked about that success factor for connectivity business is traffic volume. But very often we see that that traffic volume is often balanced with the lowering of the price.
Yeah.
So for an emerging market like India, it might be true. But imagine a country like South Korea, which has very high broadband penetration. So how these figures will match.
Now again, it's coming back to my comment about commodity, because the market is going towards commodity, and we are not realizing this. So that's why we compete with each other. We're selling the same thing, okay? Exactly the same thing, okay? Or very similar things, but we didn't realize that. So we compete, and as a result of competition, the price dropped. Okay? That was the reason. Okay? And in the commodity market, usually, okay, the price is fixed. Okay? So through this market mechanism, okay, everybody is buying the same thing at the fixed price. Okay? And I think the telecom market, the connectivity market, is moving towards that direction. Okay? Even today, okay, let's say if you want to buy international circuit from India to South Africa, okay, most of the operators will give you similar quote. Okay? And it's going to be a very low quote because of competition. Okay? So the best thing for the operator is let's not waste its time and resources. Okay? We don't do price negotiation. We just put the price on the internet. Okay? You just order through the internet. I don't want to see you. Right?
Thank you, sir.
That's the way you sell commodity.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. This is Rahul from Marketing and Finance. I wanted to ask, having a smaller and a younger workforce, would it always aim at more automation and reduce or more frequently modernizing your OPEX, more frequently modernizing your CAPEX cycles? Do we always have to look at it from that perspective?
Yeah, I think now well, obviously, whatever you do, there's pros and cons. Having a younger workforce, the company is not going to be very good in terms of management, okay? Because younger people, they're more flexible, they don't have the experience. But if you look at the industry itself, most of the traffic on our network today are for young people, entertainment, internet, whatever. Most of our audience are younger generation, and it's changing very fast. So we need to keep that up. Okay? People who are very old, who has been in the industry for a long time, they're not able to catch up. Okay? So that's why I'm saying that we need a younger generation workforce. Okay? Probably not a young CEO to manage the company, but young people, for example, doing product development, okay? Doing the strategies, okay, for products. Yeah? Okay? That will require younger generation, younger people. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. I'm Prashant for the Marketing Finance, second year. So my question is that India has 861 million subscribers, and out of that, 70% are active subscribers, and only 10% are urban subscriber. Rest are from rurals, and it may happen that as you are saying that India holds the next key to the telecom future, the rural subscribers has not a data savvy or a application or a social media savvy, and we have yet not monetized them. Yeah. So what are your take on the monetizing our rural assets we have?
Now, my comment is, I'm looking at the Chinese experience. China has the same problem. Okay? Initially, it was the cities, okay, which has high tele-density, and now we're going to move rural. But if you look at, if you talk about 3G, okay, or data, okay, the thing which drives demand for data is the application. Okay? People don't need 3G to make phone calls. Okay? Now, the reason that in the rural area, data applications not picking up, okay, to me, I think the major reason is we don't really have the right application for rural consumer. Okay? For several reasons. One is, in rural area, I'm not sure about India, but I assume the same as China. Okay? People live in rural area, they may not be very good in language, okay? But most of the applications worldwide are English. Okay? Even in China, a lot of applications still in English. Okay? People live in the city, they learn English, they can use the application, they're happy about it. But if you look at if you go to the rural area, give it to a farmer, he won't understand it. Okay? So I think some people make a big mistake. They think in the rural area, people don't have money. Okay? So that's why they're not going to buy a data application. It's wrong. Okay? Because they don't have money, that's why they want to buy mobile phone to show off that they have money. Okay? So we see this trend in China. People, they're not well off, but they buy good, expensive mobile phone, like 3G, like Apple, for iPhone, but they use it for calls and SMS. Okay? It's a status symbol. Okay? So I think until one day we have the right application for the rural population, okay, we won't be successful in the rural market. No matter how much money you invest in the market, how much money you put in to build the network, it won't happen unless you have the right application.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me take this as the last question, otherwise you won't be able to go home tonight.
Good evening, sir. My name is Jitin Sharma. Sir, in a slide you talked about the content provider and the carrier. Sir, in a scenario wherein the data market, the customer is owned by the content providers like the Google and Yahoo, and they consume the maximum revenue which they earn through advertisements. Don't you think the carriers who transport the data from the content provider to the end user deserve more revenue, as they are responsible for maintaining the quality of service?
So could you repeat the last part of your question? I didn't catch it.
So that the maximum chunk of the revenue is taken by the content providers.
Okay. So the question was my comment about having company like Google taking the majority share of the revenue. Now, we are not happy about it. As an operator, we're not happy about it. We're not happy about Google. We're not happy about Apple selling iPhone, and all the application, all the revenue for application goes to Apple. We are not happy about it, but there's nothing an operator can do about it. Yeah? Because today, the situation has changed. 20 years ago, if you want to go to your end customer, you need to come to talk to me as an operator. Okay? You need to pay me. You need to pay bribe in China. Okay? But today, it's the other way around. We need to go to Apple. We beg them. Okay? Please give me the iPhone. I want to sell the iPhone. So things have changed. Okay? And I think it's difficult to change, difficult to reverse. Okay? Because consumers, they're interested in application. They are not interested in the bandwidth they have. They're not interested in how fast their mobile phone can go. Okay? To them, it's not much difference. Okay? So I think it's the content provider, okay, the ultimate source, okay, the provider providing ultimate source of information is going to make money.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an interesting and informative session. Sir enlightened us about the telecom market, how it has evolved and transformed over the years, and the industry outlook. Now, I would like to request my colleague to present, sir, with a memento as a token of our gratitude and appreciation. Thank you, sir. May I request you please take a seat amongst the audience.